So today we are making an entremet style cheesecake. And what is an entremet? Well, an entremet in modern times is a dessert described as a mousse cake that has many different layers and textures. So the concept of the entremet is when we take one bite, we have this experience of the different textures and flavors, like a symphony of taste in our mouth. So this entremet cheesecake combines some exotic fruit flavors, those including passion fruit and mango, combined with chocolate and crunchy layers. Entremet is an expression of luxury and decadence, and with this vegan, plant-based style cheesecake entremet, you're going to get exactly that. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is prepare all of our elements before we start assembling our cheesecake. So I've gone ahead and created my crunchy layer and my genoise sponge cake. And so we're going to start preparing those first because they're the first layers that we're going to be using. So I've just taken my crunchy layer out of the refrigerator, and we need to cut it to size to our mousse frame, and I'm using a 20 by 28 centimeter mousse frame. So I'm just pushing down onto my crunchy layer, so that's looking perfect. So we've got like a nice edge there that's cut out. Now I'm going to go over my cake here, my genoise sponge, and just using a serrated knife, you can use a bread knife or a cake knife, we are going to cut around, saw through those edges so it's matching the same size as our mousse frame. Now that we've trimmed our sponge cake and our crunchy layer to our frame, we can pop those aside now and start working on our mousse cheesecake. So I have already prepared my exotic fruits compote layer, and that's in the freezer. So I don't want to take that out just yet, but we are going to start working on our chocolate cheesecake mousse. Now in my bowl here, I'm going to be adding my vegan cream cheese, and this is one that I prepared. This is the soy-based one, but you could also do an almond-based or even just use a commercial product. Now it is very important that your cream cheese is at room temperature. So we're just going to start whisking up our cream cheese with our sugar measurement until it's nice and smooth. Now I'm going to add my iota carrageenan and give that a good whisk. So the iota carrageenan is really going to allow us to freeze this product to maintain the integrity of the product. So when we take it out of the freezer, we're not going to have water leaking out. So it is going to improve the texture. Now we're going to be adding our passion fruit juice. And our melted couverture dark chocolate. So couverture chocolate is just chocolate which has a higher percentage of cocoa butter. If you're having difficulty finding it, you can always add about 5 to 10% of the weight of your chocolate in cocoa butter. And give it a good mix. Okay, now we're going to whisk up our pastry cream, and you will find the recipe in your dashboard for the pastry cream. And I've just weighed out the amount that I need, and it is also again at room temperature. You can even warm it up a little bit in the microwave if it's become a little bit firm. And we need to whisk this up until it's nice and smooth. So I'm just using the same beaters for that, it's fine. Just want to ensure that there are no lumps. Now we can add everything together. Now we have our vegan whipping cream here, and to that we're going to be adding our measurement B of the confectioner's sugar. And I like to sift that in just to ensure that there's no lumps. Now we're going to beat our cream and the sugar until we achieve the soft peak stage. Now we're at the soft peak stage. We can remove our beaters. And we're going to slowly add our whipped cream, just folding it through, a little at a time. So now we can start assembling. So with my crunchy base, I'm going to put a little bit of my cheesecake mousse down, just for my cake layer to stick. So we're using it like a glue. Now we have our chocolate genoise cake. That over the top. I do have these excess crunchy bits on the edge. We can remove those. So our frame should fit nicely over there. Perfect. We'll take these off for now, just so it's a bit easier for us to work with. Okay. Now we're going to add a little bit more of our mousse. And we're just covering that cake layer. So now is the time to get your compote layer out of the freezer. So we have my mango, passion fruit, compote insert, and it's frozen solid, so it's nice and easy to handle. And we're going to put that directly in. And you can use your bench scraper to really push down and get it into the corners. Make sure that it's nice and level. Now we can top with the remaining mousse. Okay, so that's looking good. We're just going to give it a little tap. And just cover with some contact. And transfer into the freezer overnight. So I've just taken my cheesecake out of the freezer, and I'm just going to take off this cling wrap now. So now we're going to start cutting our cake, and I want to cut it into two cakes, just so it's a lot easier for us to glaze. So I have my knife here in some nice hot water, and just wipe it after each time you pop that in. Okay, so now that we have our two cakes, I'm going to pop this back into the freezer for now whilst we prepare our glaze. So I've just taken my cheesecakes out of the freezer, and here on my tray I've just lined it with some cling wrap, and we have a cooling rack which is going to catch our glaze. So we're going to glaze one cake at a time. And I have my glaze ready to go. I've just checked the temperature and it's at our working temperature. So we're just going to give it a quick blend before we put it over our cake. Just ensure that you don't add any air bubbles. So allow your cake to set for about a minute, and then we're going to just jiggle it around a little bit just to catch any excess glaze, and then carefully transfer back onto your tray. Clean your spatula, and then we can reuse this glaze. So just transfer to the fridge while you prepare your garnish. Now that all of our cakes are cut, we can now garnish them, and you can garnish them any way that you like. I'm going to do a really simple decoration today. So I'm just going to pull one of them out just to show you a bit clearer. So in my bowl here, I have some chocolate discs. Now these ones I did not curve. I just put them between two sheets of two baking sheets, so they were nice and flat. And in my bag here I have some stable chocolate cream, and I'm just going to do a small little dot on the end here. And with our chocolate garnish. Okay. So now we're going to do that with all of them. Okay, now we're going to transfer those to the fridge just to completely set up, and then we can take some photos.